Hey everybody, Christian Peter from CRE Basic Training. Wanted to reach out to you today with regard to the top 10 mistakes that new brokers make in commercial real estate. Now I was speaking to one of my students and I was kind of picking her brain because she was relatively new to brokerage but reflecting back on her first year, I said, what are some things that you would do differently? And I think this might be very helpful for you folks out there that are just getting started, whether it's on the residential side or the commercial side. Number 10. Dedicate your time to plan and research your farm area. She says, I learned the hard way of going after anything instead of choosing an area that would pay for years to come. Now, I fully agree that you need to plan your work and work your plan. You need to, whether it's choose a small area and do every piece of business in there, whether it's leasing or whether it's sales, what have you, whether it be multiple property types, but there's a compound effect that happens when you choose a certain geographical area to work. Number 9, learn your contracts and know and organize your deadlines. I am a stickler for having systems in place because systems win when people fail, right? So it's impossible. We have so many things going on throughout our day. It's absolutely impossible for us to know and remember every deadline that we have. That's why you have to create systems. That way you have to create checklists. By learning your contracts, once you learn them, which is very, very important because it's oftentimes a large portion of your client's net worth that's at stake, by knowing them inside and out, and then more importantly, once you get a property under contract, knowing when the critical dates are. You should have a critical dates checklist and a calendar on the wall that shows them, so you're reminded of them when you see it. Okay, 123 Main Street, when's the due diligence finishing on that? When's the financing period finishing for 101 2nd Avenue? You have to know these things. A good broker is an organized broker. Work your CRM, make sure you have checklists in place, make sure you have business systems because business systems will help you. Now, next one was number 8 is qualify your buyers. See a proof of funds letter from the bank. Absolutely a great idea. At the end of the day, you really want to think of helping people that can be helped. If someone is not able to consummate a deal, if they're not pre-approved by the bank or if they don't have the proper funds, then it's not worth spending time until you have them qualified. Then you'd be happy to help them, but save both you and them some time by reaching out to them. And Peter, hi Peter, I see it says your logo is showing up in reverse. Yes, actually I have the camera on live mode, so it does that. I'll see if I can do it in the editing and flip it back around the other way, but thank you for letting me know. Now, learn to ask the right questions before taking out a buyer and tenant. So many people, if someone is they say, sure, yeah, show me some space. You might be missing the boat. You might be spending your time spinning your wheels by showing them the wrong space. So what I would recommend is whenever, let's say it's for a purchase, go to the person's current location, see how they're operating now. Understand why is it that they need a new location. Is it that they don't have enough capacity and they need to increase in size? Is it that it's not laid out efficiently for the way their business operates? Very, very important. A 15 or 20 minute meeting at their location can save you hours and hours of researching and touring the wrong properties, and at the end of the day, it's helpful to you. You save time, you save them getting frustrated because you're showing them properties that won't work for them, so everybody wins by just a short visit to their location. Okay, number 6, know how much your time is worth, okay? On average, there's 2,000 hours in the year. Work hours. We, as brokers and agents, we all work way more than that. We all know that, but for argument's sake, humor me. So let's say you wanted to make $100,000 this year. You divide 100,000 by 2,000, you come up with the 50. So your time, if your expectation is to make $100,000 this year, your time is worth $50 an hour. I put a little piece of paper on the side of my monitor and it says, what are you doing right now? Is it worth, and I fill in the blank, X amount of dollars per hour. If you're not doing that, then you are not optimizing your time. If there's something that you can delegate to somebody, by all means do that. If you're not prospecting, presenting, or following up, which are the 3 biggest money-making practices in our business, then you're doing things that aren't worth your time that can be put off to somebody else, to delegate it. There's an old saying, if you don't have an assistant, you are one. So at the end of the day, if you can please take anything that's not the highest value of your time and give it to someone else to do, because your business will grow by leaps and bounds if you start to do that. Next, be prepared for call lists and know who you're calling the night before. Do not wake up and think your day is going to go as planned, right? So I always say, work your plan your work, right? So if you have an idea of who you're going to speak to the next day, the night before, also your to-do list should be filled out the night before, because your brain works very interestingly. It'll start solving problems. If you write out your to-do list the night before, your brain will already start connecting dots. And in the morning, you'll have realizations that you hadn't thought of. But if you get to the office and start your to-do list, that you won't have the opportunity for your brain to work on that while you sleep. So, also, do not think your day is going to go as planned. There's so many times as brokers that the phone pops up and we have to run and put out a fire. You get an email and you have to run and take care of another problem. If you don't have a plan in place, it's like a train without a track. It's just spinning wheels and not knowing where it's going. You have to be on a track, and if something pulls you off the track, you get back on the track. Something pulls you off the track, you get back on the track. But a to-do list or a call list will have you on a track of who you need to reach out to, what your objectives are for the day. Because we don't have that many waypoints along the way in brokerage, so we can't really see when we're off track, but having a to-do list will keep you on track. Very, very important. Next, number 4. Do not sign NDAs or CAs, so non-disclosure agreements or confidentiality agreements, without reading the fine print first. Absolutely. There is very sensitive information sometimes, financial information that comes when you are, as a broker, you're given people's financial information for a building or an investment, and you do not want to violate an NDA or a CA because you didn't take the time to read the fine print. So it's very, very important. You do not want to breach an agreement like that, because there can be ramifications for you and or your broker if you aren't the broker. Next, number 3, learn to let your prospects speak and the broker listens. I can't stress enough. He who is asking the questions is the one that's in control of the conversation. Our job as brokers is to elicit information so we can help them, we can understand their situation and point them in the right direction. If you're talking, you are not the one, you're not the one guiding, right? Now, it does take speaking to persuade somebody, but if you're trying to gather data, which is a huge part of our job, oftentimes brokers don't listen enough. On the whole, a lot of brokers are extroverts, and extroverts like to speak, but whereas they should like to listen. You know, it's tough because it's our natural nature. We're people, and we like to interact with people. But at the end of the day, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should be using your ears twice as much. Next, number 2, do not chase huge deals when you haven't closed a 1,000 square foot space or your first commercial sale. All too often, new brokers and agents in the commercial side, they see the numbers that can be generated by these massive deals. They see something on, on CoStar News or something. They see that a $10 million sale, $20 million sale, and they start, figuring out what the percentages are, and the numbers can be enormous. However, my advice is, you will know when you're ready for those deals because you'll have closed many other deals below that amount. By trying to start on huge deals your first year out, it's like a dog that chases after a school bus. It wouldn't know how to drive it if it caught it, right? So just the same way as, a 10th grader wouldn't take on LeBron James, when you're brand new to the commercial real estate brokerage game, it's not in your best interest to try to take on something that's way, way, way higher level. Even though it can be intoxicating when you figure out what the numbers are possible, what you really need to consider is learning the A to Z of the small end. So start with 1,000, 2,000 square foot spaces. Start with some lease deals. It's more important for you to understand to the A to Z, the 7 or 8 steps that it takes to get it from calling someone on the phone, to meeting with them, to getting a requirement, to fulfilling a requirement, to closing the deal and collecting a check. It's more important to go A to Z than it is to chase these huge deals and you only get to the first 1 or 2 or 3 parts of the deal and then the people go cold. And then you find another one and you do the same thing. It's so much more important to get the whole process going, and then after you close a 1,000 foot deal, go to 5,000, go to 10, go to 20, but at least you'll know the whole game from A to Z by doing that. And finally, number 1, she writes, get a mentor. You will crash and burn without it. It's absolutely true. There's an old saying that says, the reason why we've been able to see so far is because we stood on the shoulders of giants. And that's completely true in real estate. Whether it's commercial or residential, if you want to fast track your success, the best way to do that is for you to go out and find someone that's already done what you want to do. If you find that, then you'll be able to learn from their experience. You'll probably wind up having to pay them, whether it's your broker or it's a trainer or someone of that sort. You pay for their experience so you can get where you want to go a lot faster. Time is the only non-renewable resource. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. Okay? So if you have any questions about these items, please feel free to reach out to me in the comments below. If you are interested in learning more about closing more commercial deals, adding commercial onto your residential practice, or maybe even transitioning over to a commercial broker, I run a 16-week program called CRE Basic Training. I'd be happy to tell you more. So reach out to me below and just type yes, and I'll reach out to you and see how I can help you. We can set up a strategy session. I'll also include a link to the strategy session call. I can do a 60-minute evaluation for you, see where you are, see where you're going, and see how I might be able to help you get there. So any questions, let me know, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye now. If you like the content you saw today, be sure to subscribe down below to my YouTube channel. I post videos like this weekly. I'll see you soon.